Okay, so you're gonna want to watch this whole video in its entirety because this is insane. Who this guy is, I mean, this is some CIA level. This thing has me like scratching my head, man. It has me scratching my head.
The suspected D.C. shooter, Ramanullah Zakanwal, was part of a Zero unit in Afghanistan, elite militias backed by the CIA. So let's take a closer look about what we know about these groups. First, these Zero units that were recruited by the CIA that are operating for specific elite counterterrorism units and missions come in this southern Afghanistan area, Kandahar being some of the fiercest fighting, Helmand province, Uruzgan. This is where Zakanwal is not only born and raised, but this is where he was stationed. His unit was out of the Kandahar region. Now let's talk about Zakanwal's vetting process. He did get some vetting. We had biometric screening, CIA did, biographic checks on interagency watch lists. The CIA looked to see if he had connections to any terrorist groups, and he had in-person interviews. So there was some vetting, but let's talk about his actual unit. He was assigned to NDS 03. That's a National Directorate of Security.
Now there was some vetting. What I noticed from the other Afghan national that was taken down because the stupid fool got on TikTok and started talking about stuff that he's going to do. Dummy, when you do that, this is what happens. Okay, you get took down, and you need to get taken down. And what happened is what needed to happen. Thank God. But there was a light vetting process. It wasn't a heavy vetting process. You notice that he said biometrics, some interagency checks, persons of interest. That's very, very light because you're thinking about people that are think about this. People just give you a name. And if they just give you the name and that's the name you check under, that's the name that you know. That's the only name that you can use to verify the identity of that individual. And that's what we see right here. Things like that probably changed his name some, gave him a little bit less information. They only can work off of the information that he gives to him or other people give to him. So if those other people, whether from his units or other units, are thinking the same way, meaning we're just going to give them this information about you, and remember, this is my information, and we're not going to tell them the truth, then now it becomes a bigger conspiracy. Because that's the only way you can really fool the CIA. Information really has to be, the CIA is in the space of human intelligence, gaining human intelligence information, okay? If the intelligence is only as good as the people that they get it from. If everybody is saying the same thing, what does that mean? I mean, it's true. Obviously here, somebody believed it was true. His mild vetting was the same mild vetting that was given to that other national, which I did a video on. I just let that loose. He's the national that turned around and got on TikTok, like I just mentioned. But it was very light vetting, not a huge vetting process. I would say that the people who go for green cards and to become citizens of the U.S. probably have a deeper vetting process when they come in and go through the right channels, whether it's through immigration and they come in for an asylum the right way. Yeah, they can sit down for 5-10 years and actually pay the money and go through a more in-depth vetting process. These guys didn't go through that. They didn't go through that. It's no way they could possibly have gone through that same vetting or intense vetting process that we see that green card holders come through. And I would dare to say even the Somalians that came over in Minnesota that's causing craziness over there, that they went through a light vetting process also. I think that's where we probably need to take a look at, because that's the area, in my opinion, that the system fell right there with Biden. It was intentional, or I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional. I mean, you tell me what you think. Do you think it was intentional or unintentional?
Which is Afghanistan's CIA, if you will, intelligence service. He was working for that when he was recruited and trained by the CIA to fight against the Taliban. But these units were operating outside the chain of command of U.S. and Afghan forces. That's significant. That suggests he may have seen some significant fighting and missions because these zero units are known for their brutality. Some called them death squads. Let's bring.
So we got some death squad members in the United States, and nobody thought to actually do a deeper depth, in-depth vet.
And now Laura Burns, head of terrorism research program on extremism at George Washington University and former FBI supervisory special agent. Laura, we're learning a lot more about Lochinwall and the fact that he's part of this zero unit, but yet we're also looking into how he makes it across the country to carry out this ambush. What are your thoughts this morning?
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate it. Yes, this Mr. Lochinwall's pathway from Washington to D.C., it raises some interesting questions, right? Questions like, was Mr. Lochinwall already radicalized before he migrated to the United States? Did he come here with the intent to commit an act of terrorism when he found the opportunity? Or rather, did he migrate here with good intentions? And
I don't know if he migrated here with good intentions. Coming from the death squad, knowing that there's light vetting, knowing that they do what they have to do in order to survive, whether it's fighting Taliban or in Taliban, because they had conflicting interests with them, didn't necessarily mean that they were allies with the U.S. The enemy of my enemy is my friend until there's no more enemy. Now they're my enemy. To me, that's really simple. I don't think nobody took the time to really think that through. And it was definitely intentional driving from Washington State down to D.C. Definitely intentional. He knew what he was going to do. He already planned to do it. Whether he was radicalized there or here, I truly believe it was more there than here. Because it's no reason why you would come here after you got let in and you were fighting for the freedom of your people and you got let in to the U.S. because you were supporting, and then you become all of a sudden radicalized. The enemy of my enemy is my friend until you have no more enemy. Then that enemy is your enemy, and that's I really believe that's the case.
for some reason become disaffected with society or fail to assimilate, and then self-radicalize and then decide to mobilize with a target of opportunity. I think that as the investigation proceeds, FBI Director Kash Patel has said that they are looking at this as an act of terrorism, that facts will become available and help us determine exactly what his radicalization process was.
Laura, FBI Director Kash Patel talked a little bit about Lochinwall's relationship with Afghanistan partner forces. Listen here.
There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. This individual is in this country for one reason and one reason alone, because of the disastrous withdrawal from the Biden administration and the failure to vet in any way, shape, or form, this individual and countless others. And this administration has taken the rightful step to stop any further allowance of people with this similar background into the country.
So, Laura, clearly Lochinwall ends up here because of his partnership with our U.S. forces, with the CIA. And it appears he did have vetting, as I just pointed out, but yet there are still links, weak links in this vetting process. Explain your sort of view of that.
Yes, I mean, the overall vetting process, if we're talking about the broader vetting process, it didn't just involve Mr. Lochinwall, because it does appear that he had some sort of vetting, was extremely complicated and chaotic. And, it really began with what I see as the intelligence community's failure to predict how quickly Kabul would fall. And because of that failure to understand what was going to ensue, there was a lack of preparation for what that evacuation process of our allies would actually look like and entail, and the challenges that they would face. And there were many challenges. We had hundreds of thousands of Afghan nationals who assisted our forces in various capacities and risked their lives. But the ability to vet individuals in that chaotic environment was extremely difficult because of the naming conventions that were in Afghanistan. Some individuals used first name only. There were lacks of date of birth. There were lacks of identification documents. And so when you're talking about...
So that's telling me that he could possibly be not even be the person that he says he is. That's a strong possibility that he's not even the person that he says he is. That the name he gave, Lockenwall, is probably not even his last name. That's a possibility. Because if there's a breakdown when it comes to identification, people only using first name, last name, like I said earlier, who says that he is who he says he is?
Thousands of people fleeing violence and flooding onto planes. We weren't prepared to vet them.
It's a great point. It's a great point, Laura. I just want to, get to this quickly, and that is now President Trump is calling for a re-scrutiny of the vetting of those who came here. It's possible Lockenwall came here with good intentions and became radicalized here in the past 4 years. So can we?
No, they keep giving him. They're giving him the benefit of a doubt that he was radicalized here. No. That he had ill intentions when he first came. He was already in that position as a sleeper when he first came. It is no way possible this guy can be from a zero unit death squad, and he gets let in as the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And now you don't have an enemy no more, but we were never friends to begin with. It was just friends of convenience. And that's really what his situation is.
Accomplish the process of re-vetting a lot of these individuals that were brought here. Will that work?
I think it's necessary. It's necessary for the protection of our national security, because at the end of the day, especially in those first months when we had thousands of people migrating here, the U.S. government was not prepared to properly vet. The vetting was minimal. And I think it is necessary, because although a number of individuals migrated here who sacrificed their lives for our government, there were individuals who were not properly vetted that likely have nefarious intent here.
Yep.
And I think a re-scrutinizing of the vetting process is necessary.
We'll see where it goes, Laura.
They need to re-vet all of them. They need to be a very detailed vetting for all of them. I'm not for sending everybody back, but hell, most of them probably need to go back. That's it. Most of them need to get out at the end of the day. That vetting process, if it's not tight, then this is what happens. This is what happens. We knew there was going to be an effect from when Biden pulled out. We thought it was just going to be with Afghanistan, but we can clearly see that it's not just Afghanistan, that it's here. That is here. Nobody said anything. It was never publicized that these people came in at this rate in the level of the vetting process. So midterms are going to be crazy, because everybody's going to keep this at the forefront of their mind when they go to vote. And I can see clearly between the hatred and the dislike for socialism, and communism, which I'm with them. This adds the icing on the cake. Hey guys, like, subscribe, follow for more content. I will see you on the next video.
Burns, thank you for taking time this morning.
I'm Steve Ducey.
Have a blessed day.